So as we all know, the prices of fast food have gotten completely out of control over this past year or so. And that's why we're finally starting to see a lot of these fast food restaurants have price wars. And they're getting back down to the basics and trying to lure people in with some of these deals that they haven't had in a very long time because their customer base has been dropping off so much. Once again, I have my bodyguard dad over here with me today. What's up, Pops?
How you doing?
He's going to comment on this a little bit today because he knows some people that still eat fast food, and some of their fast food stories are pretty insane. So, you know, I don't actually eat fast food, so I only learn about this stuff through the news for the most part. But when you actually know people that eat it and the prices they pay, it's kind of insane, guys. But, you know, right now, you have people starting to take their family vacations across the country, and when you're trying to feed a family, you stop into fast food and you want a deal. Well, now's a good time to get those deals because, you know, McDonald's, starting in a couple days from now, June 25th, they're going to be offering their month-long deal with the combo meal and with a McChicken, a McDouble, 4-piece chicken nuggets, small fries, and a small drink for $5. We kind of talked about this a little over a month ago when they announced this. Wendy's has announced their $3 limited time breakfast combo meal. Burger King is going to bring back their $5 Your Way meal. So there's a lot of ways to eat cheap fast food right now, even though it's terrible for you and it's probably going to end up killing you. People do it. But here's the thing. They want you to sign up for their app in many cases. In order for you to get the best deal, they want you to download their app. And a lot of people might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is, you know, they collect your data, right? And you know, one of the sponsors of the channel is Delete Me, and even though this video is not sponsored, I'm just mentioning real quick that, you know, those guys are in charge of getting rid of your data from all these websites. And then you have places like these fast food restaurants that want to collect your data, and it works because of examples like this. Okay, a Big Mac with a medium fries and a medium drink costs $11.79 before tax in Santa Ana, California. But if you order that same meal via the mobile app for pickup at the same location, it will cost $6.50 before tax. So basically half off if you use the app. So the lure is to get you in to use the app, and they take all your data, your purchasing habits, you know, your name, your date of birth, your address, all this stuff, and they use that for marketing purposes. They probably sell it to other companies as well, and they can make a profit off of that data. And they can also adjust what kind of deal you get per user with the app. It's not like everybody's going to get this deal. It's just available to some people. So what are some of the things that you're seeing with people with fast food, Dad? Like you have people at the post office that eat fast food all the time. Like, what are some of the deals they're getting?
They're not getting deals.
What are they paying?
$27. One lady told me $27 for her and her son to go to Burger King.
So 2 meals at Burger King, $27.
$27.
So how many restaurants around here in Rockford can we eat at for $27, me and you, for lunch? If it's more like a sit-down restaurant, probably a lot of them, right?
Oh yeah, we can go to
a diner.
We can go do Mission's Barbecue for $5 more. We can have real food. That's barbecue food for $32.
Yeah, $32 for 2 people for lunch for a real meal, and people are paying $27 for Burger King around here. And this is just in Illinois, guys. This is not a California story. This is just what people are paying around here. And by the way, for anybody who wants to know, I'm walking around Bauman Park here in Cherry Valley. It's like a place I used to come a lot when I used to live around here. Very peaceful little spot around the lake. Here's the problem too, guys. Like, anybody who's looking for the deal, not only they're trying to force you to use the app, but you have reports of people online saying they're getting a better deal than what the app's offering if they walk in the store. Other people are saying they're getting a better deal on the app. So it's kind of a mess. You know, there's no consistency in the pricing and how you know what you're going to pay for this food right now. And that's another reason they're losing their customers. Like, back in the day, you knew you could just walk into McDonald's, for example, and order something off the dollar menu and be guaranteed that it would cost $1. Just like the dollar stores that are going out of business, They used to have it where everything costs $1. Well, now everything costs $5 or $20 or whatever. And it's no wonder that when you build a business model around, this fake idea now of it being cheap, that's no longer is, it's no wonder that they're losing their customers. When was the last time you were at McDonald's, Dad? You remember?
It's got to be 3-4 years now.
Okay, well that kind of lines up with this here, because they say that the price of McDonald's menu items since 2019 are up 40%. So if you haven't been to one since then, you might be pretty shocked by the prices of where they're at today.
Yeah.
So according to McDonald's, they say that the average price of a Big Mac back in 2019 was $4.39, and despite a global pandemic and historic rises in supply chain costs in the years that followed, the average cost now is $5.29. That's an increase of 21%, not 100%, which is being claimed by a lot of social media posts that are showing this. But here's the thing, guys. All of these McDonald's restaurants and many other franchise businesses are just that. They're franchises, and they have individual operators, and they can charge a different amount than what McDonald's suggests they charge based on what they have to pay for their supplies and what it costs them to operate their store. Obviously the most notorious example right now is California, where now they have $20 an hour minimum wage. I mean, I can't wait till I get there and I'll go order a Big Mac for you guys with a meal and see how much it costs. You guys hear those cicadas? It's really loud. But make no mistake, even though McDonald's is having trouble right now, their corporate profits are still going up. But the main reason isn't because, they're selling more burgers or doing so well with that. It's because McDonald's is a real estate company. There was this movie that came out 10, 15 years ago. A lot of you probably saw it, called The Founder. And it kind of exposed that and told the story of how McDonald's got started. And, McDonald's makes most of their money from charging their franchisees rent. They own the real estate, and the franchisees have to rent the land. So McDonald's is basically a big landlord company like BlackRock. And so what we're starting to see with fast food in general is a lot of people are just starting to say no, just like the housing market. When things get overheated and the price goes beyond where you want to pay, a lot of people start protesting with their wallet and they start saying no. And honestly, I think it's a good thing. The less people that eat fast food, it's so bad for you. This can't be a bad thing. It's good for your health. Maybe it will help tackle this obesity epidemic we see here, especially now that I'm here in Illinois. I see it like crazy, guys. It's all over the place. You have a lot of people that are just way too overweight, and they can do without eating McDonald's, believe me. I mean, you even have some McDonald's locations right now that are charging $4.50 just for a medium fry. And of course, the big notorious example of how out of control this has gotten is there was an example the early part of this year where there was a McDonald's in Connecticut charging $18 for a Big Mac. I covered that back when this happened, and it's just truly unbelievable. And I know it gives a lot of bad press to fast food restaurants and McDonald's in particular, making it seem like everyone's overcharging, which isn't the case. But we know for a fact that the cost of these items have gone up, guys. And so now that the prices have been going up, the sales at these restaurants have been falling. And look, it's not just McDonald's, it's happening to Starbucks, it's happening to Pizza Hut. These are all kind of things that people don't need, right? People don't need to eat this. They can eat at home. They can go to the grocery store, or like my dad said, spend a few dollars more and get a much better deal. I mean, what do you usually pay for a meal around here, Dad? Like if you do go out?
It's been a long time since I went out, but usually it's about, if I go down to the in-town restaurant here, it's usually about 10-15 bucks.
For like a real meal, not fast food.
Real meal, yep.
And what do you get for that? Like what kind of food?
See, I just went out with your sister before the wedding. We had an Italian beef bowl from Salomone's restaurant here. And it's full, it's a bread bowl, like Panera, and they put Italian beef, au jus, and cheese on it. And it was $14 each one.
And it's filling, it's a good meal.
It's a good meal.
Okay. So yeah, and it's not fast food. And now you're basically paying that to go to Burger King or McDonald's right now. I mean, even if you're not paying $18 for a Big Mac, by the time you get a value meal at these places, you are paying 30 bucks in many cases for 2 people to eat. And it's no wonder why people don't want to pay for this anymore. And you know what's funny is a lot of companies, these fast food companies in particular, probably got greedy and thought that they could take advantage of a lot of people after a lot of people got free money and it seemed like people had extra money to throw around buying all these toys and RVs and stuff that they couldn't afford to begin with, and now they're all being forced to sell. Well, places like these fast food companies were able to get in on that action too, right? They were able to raise their prices for a while and charge extra for these items and get away with it. But now that that's not happening anymore, they're forced to go back to these price wars and have a race to the bottom and see just how many people they can get through the door and hope that they buy something also besides the value meal. Another thing that they've been trying to do, especially since this $20 an hour announcement in California in April, is they're trying to replace people more and more often and have AI and robots take your job. McDonald's in particular, like McDonald's is really the star of this show today because these guys are just having problems with this left and right. They tried to have an AI-powered drive-through system, which has caused all sorts of problems where people are getting charged $250 for chicken nuggets. It's spitting out, too many packs of butter, just different stupid things that shouldn't be happening when you're just placing a basic order, and if you had somebody listening on the other end, you'd be able to avoid. So right now they have this AI test going on at about 100 different restaurants, which they're going to get rid of because it's definitely not working out. And basically what it comes down to is these robots and AI voices that are supposed to be taking your orders are just still too stupid to understand what you really want and take your order properly. It's also their additional attempt to replace human labor with robots, guys, because they can't just keep raising their prices indefinitely. They're already losing customers to that. So if they try to raise it even further and try to keep as many people as employed, that puts them in an even more dangerous position, I guess you could say, for the future of their business. And so what are they doing instead? They're looking at trying to replace people with robots and cut back on their expenses that way. But it sounds like to me, from all the bad experiences people are having with this, that just scares people away even more. Like now you can't even go through the drive-through and get your order taken properly. I mean, how is that good for customer experience? So I guess they're going to back off this AI push for now until the end of the year. And then they're supposed to be having a new partnership with Google where they're going to have generative AI in thousands of McDonald's stores in order to try this again and give it a second go. I mean, just think of how many people work the drive-through right now at different McDonald's, and if this second attempt is successful, how many jobs are going to be able to eliminate then? Wendy's is already doing the same thing. They're partnered with Google to get this generative AI for their drive-throughs. So little by little, they're trying to boost their profits by eliminating people. But yet somehow they want people to come in and continue buying their product, but how are they going to do it if they don't have a job? We even have other fast food restaurants like Carl's Jr. and Checkers, I've never even heard of this until now, where they have been caught outsourcing their drive-through ordering to the Philippines, where you're talking to somebody on the drive-through and you think it's somebody standing in the restaurant, but they're all the way over in the Philippines taking your order, which I guess is probably a little bit better. At least you're still talking to a person. But of course, that job is no longer here in the United States, which is bad for our economy. And now that we're on the subject of jobs being taken away for a minute, one of my viewers, Steve, he's always sending me a ton of stories, which I appreciate. And one question that I've been asking a lot on the channel is, why are there so many fake job listings right now? Because you have these jobs reports that keep coming out month after month that look like, we have more jobs than ever here in the US, but when you talk to people who actually want to or are trying to get a job, they can't get one. I made a whole video on this just a few days ago. If you didn't see it, go check it out. So these fake job listings cause all sorts of problems. They make it so that it's problematic for people who are actually trying to legitimately get a job, like this woman I discussed in the video the other day, but also it clutters up the job boards. It makes it look like there's a lot more jobs available than they are, and it makes it harder for people to figure out which job listings are essentially real and which ones aren't. So in this story, they talk to a guy that works at a recruitment agency to try to get people jobs, and he is witnessing the rise of the fake job listings firsthand. And a former recruiter friend of his confessed to posting ghost jobs to impress clients and boost his performance metrics. So these people that work for these recruiting agencies apparently get paid by how many jobs they have available. And if they're faking the info and faking the data, it makes it look like things are going better than they really are, which is a huge problem, guys, especially since the government relies on this information to actually try to put out data regarding how well the economy is doing. I mean, if these guys are getting away with posting fake jobs and getting bonuses for it or keeping their jobs for it, meanwhile, they're reporting, oh, we just had 270, 300,000 new jobs in May. I mean, it's all fake. And here's another sinister angle to this that I never even thought of until now. Another reason that they have all these fake job listings is because they want you to apply. That way they can harvest your data. You know, I've been talking to you guys constantly about these companies stealing your data. And once again, here's another example. Think of all the things you give away when you give an application or a resume to a company. You know, they know your entire history as far as where you live now, where you used to work, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes even your social security number, and they're getting all that data from you for free. You're just handing it over on a silver platter, applying for a fake job. So I never even thought of that, but that makes me even more concerned about the situation where people are out there applying for all these jobs. They don't know if they're real or not. Meanwhile, these guys are stealing all your data and selling it for a profit. Maybe that's the motivation to have all these fake job listings. It's not even to boost government numbers, it's to boost their own numbers. You know, the recruiters get paid for having more postings, and the more resumes and data they collect, then the more they can turn around and sell that to data brokers and make extra money on the side. And in a down economy, that seems like a pretty good idea right now. And you know this is kind of what they're doing because you've seen multiple situations where you have somebody who's literally the perfect candidate apply for a job, and they're talking back and forth with the company, and then all of a sudden it's radio silence, they don't get hired, and then just a couple weeks later you see the same job listing posted again. You know, they're pretending that they want to fill these positions, but really they just want your data. So they're saying right now to watch out for these the most is tech companies, recruiters, and staffing agencies are among the biggest ghost posters. Ghost posters, like Ghostbusters. And so if you're looking for a job with one of these places, that's where you should, you know, be the most hesitant about making an application or submitting a resume. The tech companies have the excuse saying, well, you know, with how fast moving the industry is, we always need to maintain a pool of potential candidates that are ready to go, which, you know, maybe there's some truth to that because maybe people move in and out of the business a lot, but still, you know, it's one of those things where now you have to be very careful who you're giving your information to. And you know, somebody else reached out to me here, Kevin, another viewer of my channel, and he mentioned that regarding the employment data, and here's another reason why a lot of it is fake and not true, because many companies, they will list the same job in multiple cities and states. That's a great point that he brings up that I never thought about before. So he said that one job that he looked into was listed in 10 different cities right here in Illinois. And is the government counting this as one job or 10 jobs? Well, you know it's the latter, and that makes the jobs numbers look good in an economy that's falling apart. So just yet another way to kind of juice the numbers and shenanigans to make things look good. So really, when you know they're doing stuff like this, you can probably take the actual job postings right now and cut it down at least in half, maybe even by less than that, to 30% or so of what the actual number is, to get how many jobs are really out there available right now. But they're using these fake numbers to say that, well, things are good and this is why we're not going to cut rates and this and that. And hey, listen, I've said before, I'm happy that they're not cutting rates. You know, if you're saving money, it's a good time to have money saved. You know, getting 5.3% on your money right now is not a bad thing. But it's all based on a lie. That's the problem. So I wish I had some better advice for everybody out there watching on how to like spot a fake job listing, you know, other than, you know, watching out for recruiting companies or staffing agencies or tech companies, there's no way to really know if the job opening is for real or not. And unfortunately, there's also no way to apply for a job without giving away all this information that they ask for. So they kind of got people by the balls, so to speak, and you're forced to give over this information just to maybe or maybe not get a job, and maybe not in most cases today. So unfortunately, it's one of those things, guys, like sooner or later you have to give it all up, and they're gonna know everything about you, whether you like it or not. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.